Hi, folks. It's Shamash here, author of Mindfulness for Dummies. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I'm going to be sharing some tips today for mindfulness teachers. It could be a mindful therapist or an educator. It could be anyone who just wants to guide some mindfulness meditations. And I've had a couple of questions about tone of voice. So one person was asking how her tone of voice is different when she guides it kind of off the cuff, and then it seems to vary when she's using the script. And she was just wondering, how to cope with that. And I've also had questions from other people in the past saying things like, I don't know if my tone of voice is right, or I don't like the sound of my tone of voice when I'm guiding the meditations. What should I do? So I thought I'd just share some tips. When I first was introduced to guiding meditations, it wasn't so much about guiding, actually. It was the kind of meditation that I learned was all about just sitting in silence for a while, and it was more about giving people feedback afterwards. And then later on, I learned about the approach of guided meditations and how you can actually guide people through the meditation. So first thing to remember is that, not everyone is used to even guided meditation. Some people are just used to, this is the practice, go off and practice it in silence, or go off and practice it while listening to some music. And then some people are used to this more guided meditation approach. And I think it works a lot better, generally speaking, for beginners when there's a guidance. Now, when you as a teacher or facilitator, whatever you want to call it, are guiding meditations, I can understand that there's a discomfort there, there's a fear there. Are you getting it right? And is your tone of voice right? Is it too high-pitched or low-pitched, or you have an accent maybe? But the really important thing is the first one, easier said than done, but I'm going to share the first step here, which is embrace the imperfection and just share it. This is the universal challenge for so many things in life, isn't it? Perfectionism. And so anything that you could do to bypass the tendency to do things perfectly is great. I mean, this, for example, I'm doing this at the moment. I'm doing this on Facebook Live and YouTube Live and all that kind of stuff, and haven't spent ages planning this session. And you can see the microphone if you're watching it on a video. And I've only just kind of woken up, so I'm not dressed up perfectly. The background is certainly not perfect. There's loads of things about it that's imperfect, but and I haven't done this for a long time. This is something that is more recent for me, so I'm not doing it that often. It's a new thing for me. It's a challenge for me, and I'm having to embrace the imperfection element of it. And that took time. It doesn't come straight away. And sometimes the calling just comes that, okay, that's it. I've had enough. I'm just going to be imperfect and I'm going to share. And I guess that's what I'm inviting you guys to do. There'll be a time where you think, you know what? I've been wanting to guide these meditations for ages. I know my voice isn't perfect, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. And so that kind of attitude can make a difference. And I can't say exactly this is how you do it, because me doing this and sharing this right now, I don't know, just one day I thought, that's it, I really want to do this. And the desire to do it was greater than the fear of the imperfection of the backgrounds and the sounds and all that. And so it happened. And so I invite you to do the same, and a time will come, if you're keen and if you want to help others and support others with guided meditations, that you'll embrace the imperfection and just begin sharing it. In terms of how you could do that, some tips to make it a bit easier. So these sessions that I'm doing, I kind of have pre-planned them. So, people are expecting me to do the session right now. And so normally I wouldn't want to do a session right now, for example, but because it's been pre-planned, people are expecting it. I'm like, okay, let's just do it. And it's nice to get it out there. So you could do something like that for your guided meditations. If you want to practice guiding meditations, you could, for example, as things are more online right now, you could set a date and a time and invite some people, say, hey, I'm going to guide a meditation at this time, and kind of book them in. And so then you don't have a way of getting out of it. You have to do it. And I think that's one really good way of overcoming the imperfection, because it's so easy to keep putting things off, putting it off. But if you've got a date and time in your diary, and you've told other people that this is happening at this time, then you can't get out of it and you have to do it. So that can really, really help. So booking in a date and a time is like almost like a bonus tip there. Second one is that if you're concerned about your tone of voice for whatever reason, just notice that there is such a huge range of teachers out there, whether they're meditation teachers or even singing teachers, all sorts of other teachers. Everyone is given their own tone of voice, and that's fine. So you never know what's going to work for each person. Someone may like one tone of voice, someone may like the other, and you've been given this gift of your voice. So I invite you to share your voice and put it into the mix with everybody else's, and people who like it will like it, or people who get into it will get into it. But not until you share it, you won't be able to understand that. So what I'm trying to say is, don't try and be perfect in your tone of voice, or try and shape it or change it in a way that you think it should be. Sure, like, after some experience, you could maybe listen to some feedback if you want, but I'm reluctant to take that approach. It's more an approach of be as you are, let your voice be as it is, share it. If people like it, great. If not, no worries, you can share it with someone else. The right people will find you. So don't worry about changing or adapting it, because we need the whole variety, the whole rainbow of different tones of voices and approaches and guided meditations, and the right people, it will find the right people. So the variation is good, actually. And finally, if you want to have let's say if you want to create a professional set of 5 tracks or 10 tracks or 20 tracks, whatever, recorded tracks, then you might want to use a sound engineer or someone to actually adapt the sound and the tone of voice, which would be appropriate for a meditation, for example. So one website I know is Fiverr.com, Fiverr with 2 R's.com, and there'll be people who can do editing of your audio, not too expensive. You'll be able to find someone. So it could be there, or there could be other websites, or maybe somebody locally in your area that can do it. But you can find the right person for you to edit your tracks if you want to do something quite professional, and maybe you want it on your website as downloadable. So you just record it as best you can, and then you can get someone to do that. But that's not necessary. But it's an option for some of you who are very much hesitating sharing it. So you do it, and then that it's going to be edited, and it can change it quite a lot. Actually, it can make a big difference. So they're my 3 tips. I'll share them again. Embrace the imperfection, just share it. Notice the wide range of voices of different teachers, and so yours is going to be different too. So get yours out there in the mix. And for a professional result, use like some sort of sound engineer to help you adapt it. So I hope you enjoyed what I had to share with you today. Thank you for listening and watching on Sunday morning. That's impressive. Have a great day, and let me know in the comments below what you found about what you kind of found helpful about this, and what kind of questions you'd like me to address, or blocks that you have. What's your number 1 challenge right now when it comes to sharing mindfulness? And I'll see if I can help you in a future live. Okay, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye for now.